Hey there, this is Beth. Sherry asked me to talk a little about how I use tarot cards in my crystal grid. And I said to myself, I haven't really thought about this. So I had a thought and decided that it was just going to be way easier for me to talk about this than to write about it. And I'm about ready to switch the cards out on this grid. What this grid is pretty much if I've ever pulled a card for you, you participated in the Friday card reveal, I've done a reading for you, you've bought a class, you're my friend, pretty much everything that all gets tied into this, along with money, business, clients, abundance, prosperity, my business, me. That's what this grid is. It's kind of like my client business grid, along with friends, because, well, you're my friends, and I don't really make that distinction of energetic support between clients and friends, and sometimes some of my friends are clients. So, but what I have currently going on here is several card decks and being used within a layered grid. And what we have with this grid, the layering's a new thing I've just started playing with. It's very, very new to me. The Vesica, I always want to say Viscus Piscus because it's more fun to say. Vesica Piscus is on the bottom, and then we have, let me see if I can kind of peel it back there. Then you got the Flower of Life, and on top is Metatron, along with a lot of Montana agate that's been found, petrified wood, money, and a wood knot that I found while walking on the street. Has money and this kind of stuff that this grid is supporting deals primarily with things that are in the realm of the element earth. And one of the symbols of the element earth is things like such as rocks, the crystals in general, and trees and wood. So tying that in with the petrified and then the regular knot. And my way of working with the crystals is very intuitive. I just pick out what to put on here, and this is pretty much all found stuff. I didn't buy anything on this grid except the crystal grids because I took the class and the plate and the cards, but as far as crystals go. So what I have currently going on card-wise, though, is this is my main card. And I've been working a lot with fallen angels recently. So that's who I'm currently using and bringing in an energy that I want. And this card tends to get changed about twice a week. On Mondays and then on Thursdays. And this was from Thursday, and it's Velak, which is resolution. And they're subtle lot, the fallen angels. And what they're doing is bringing in a certain energy that is needed within the grid or within the pool of people that I'm working with. And the Thursday one is particularly geared to the Friday card reveal and pulling those people in that I need and guiding them to the correct information that they need. And the energies we're working with that week. So that's this card. This over here is the Thoth deck, and I'm actually changing this deck out for the Legacy of the Divine. This one. It's a pretty deck. I'm very animistic when it comes to my decks, and the Thoth has expressed a wish to be tied more into the personal grid, which I'm not going to go over because I can't get a good candle angle. But basically when I feel the need to, I've pulled a card and put it on the edge here. They used to be kind of more under, but the current formation is not working very well with that. These are a daily draw. And these are from the Heart of Fairy Oracle deck by Brian Froud. And what's happening with this group I'm going to move the grid out of the way and talk you through what's going on here. Okay, so, whoops, bears. Go. These are daily energies that people tied into this grid are dealing with. The other day was oh no, of dealing with those kind of ideas of oh crap, what's going on. That was yesterday's energy. Lady of the Unicorns was a previous day's energy. So what I'm doing is these energies get layered and layered. Lord of the Forest, Lady of Sorrows, the Lady of Leprechauns, the Challenge, the Lady of Faith. And these are all connecting in. They all build on each other. That we're having the faith to make that leap. That even though we feel challenged, we can still have the luck to move on and know that within ourselves it's all going to be okay. The Lady of Sorrows, that we can let go of what we don't need and that we can feel our sorrows when we need to. But to beware that if we get stuck in those sorrows and become bitter, it's not a good thing. The Lord of the Forest, masculine energy of bringing in the forest, of bringing in the magical essence of the wild and of the wild male, and that it doesn't matter if you're male or female. You masculine and feminine energies are not necessarily bad or good, but working with his energy, to deal with this potential bitterness of getting stuck in sorrow and moving into the wild of the forest with him. Lady of Unicorns, of rejoicing that we can have joy, that we can move out of those sorrows and own up, oh crap, what's going on today? Things aren't always what they seem. Things aren't always going to go our way. It's okay. And so that's how that builds. Each day builds upon each other. And what I tend to do is tie it into my main grid and put a fairy card on there. The one I pulled for fairy card on my main grid, which gets transferred to that grid. And this day's is the Pan. We're starting a new week, new energy. And this is just very much a joyous energy to start with. Just go for it. Free, be joyful. And bringing that in to the beginning of our week. So what happens when I start setting up for the week, is first we try to shuffle cards that don't want to be shuffled. Let's just get these kind of shuffled up a little, mixed in. The Heart of Fairy is a newer deck for me. I haven't really worked with it for very long. I'm liking it in the capacity of working with it on the client grid, especially because it deals with relationships. So, let me shuffle my decks and then we'll bring the grid back up and I'll show you how it gets set up for the week. Being grounded, being clear, being centered is very important when working with this kind of stuff. If you're not, then you bring in your current emotion, and that's not always what we want. It's more drawing on the collective consciousness of a group of people. And that one doesn't want to be shuffled anymore. And this is going to be the other tarot deck I'm going to work with. And this one's kind of a little more random. I draw this when I feel the need to draw. Nothing wants to shuffle now. Draw a card or energy. I do not cherry pick cards. I shuffle and draw. I let the universe, I let my guides, I let the egregors of the groups I work with pick these cards. I don't go through and find, say, the wheel. I say, bring that in. Wrong one. Okay, let's back up. I need to tighten that. Bring in that energy, say. I don't go out and seek cards for the grid. I pull them. It's very much as if you were doing a reading. You would not go through and be like, oh, I need that card. That would be stacking the deck, as it were. Alrighty. Got a good shuffle on everything. So, decks we're using are Legacy of the Divine Tarot by Chiro, whose last name I can't ever remember. Fallen Angels by Nigel Suckling, and Heart of Fairy, who's not in, and Heart of Fairy by Brian and Wendy Froud. If you are going to buy one fairy deck, buy the original one first. It's a much more stronger, cohesive deck than this one is. This one is very much geared for relationships and works very, very much on masculine, feminine, god, goddess tandem. But, okay. Well, we're going to set things up. But the idea of using the cards for me is that these energies go beyond me, my guides. They're far beyond. I mean, fallen angels are old. Your fairy is old. Tarot, not so old, but the energies you work with have been fed a lot of power by people. Okay, I'm going to focus here for a minute. Ooh, Balaam is our card. Let's see here. For the week. And that deals with quiet strength, it says. I'm still learning. Oh, where are my dudes? Over here. Still learning the Fallen Angel, guys. So I tend to like to look up and see what it has to say. It's 63. Balaam. Element fire. Planet sun. Message. Determined action is needed in the face of conflict and strife, but beware of taking the conflict too far. Balaam's totem beasts are the bull and the ram, and he often appears in visions riding a savage bear with a sparrowhawk on his wrist. He is an untamed and warlike spirit, a useful friend in times of conflict, but also dangerous and needing to be kept under control. He can read the past and the future and give good advice concerning strategy and tactics. He is also a master of camouflage, allowing you to make your own preparations without your enemy noticing. Motto of the card is quiet strength. And I find these meanings tend to be very masculine, and they were wrote by dudes, so a long time ago. I find this deck has a subtlety to it that is just astounding and brings in a quality of love that just has wowed me. I love this deck. I love working with these guys so much. I didn't know what I was going to get when I bought this deck. I just knew I liked it. So I like to read that and then ask, wow, what is the message for this week for me? So I know this when I'm working through the grid. And the quiet strength is not necessarily the conflict or the war. It's the war of the inside. It's the war of you against you. Of not seeing true, of not being able to move into quiet strength. To not be able to see clear, to not have that quiet strength that you need And I find that the message of self-love often comes up with this deck. So, it used to get laid on top. Oops, wrong way. But since I changed the grid formation, that doesn't work. So they kind of get shoved there, and I like how that's going so far. We're going to pick out a new fairy card. And we got the Remembrance. Somehow I had a feeling this was going to pop up today. And this is, even though we have the pan tied into the main grid, this is our starting card for this grid. So we're bringing in the energy of remembrance, the remembrance of joy, the remembrance of everything, the remembrance of all that there is. And we got the Nine of Swords today. Woohoo! One thing I often do, you hear me going, whew, and I breathe on my cards quite often. I use the breath to instill or bring in what I need. Nine of Swords. So if you start looking at this, we got Pan, remembering joy. We got Remembrance, remembering where we're really at. Balm with the quiet strength. And we got the Nine of Swords, which is dealing with just, those crappy things in life. A lot of times they're dealing with the darker aspects of self in life. So it kind of all starts to tie in to each other. And for me, the bringing in the aspect of the cards helps me really more focus upon them, and it brings in another aspect of the divine to work for you, another aspect that's always drawing energy for you. And so yeah, it just kind of started happening, and maybe when I break down my main grid I'll walk you through that one, because that one is slightly different and more fixed for a time being. So when I feel called to break that one down, I'll walk through that one, because it is a different process of creating a different process. This one is very much kind of tying others in, whereas my main grid for me deals more just with me. But okay, I hope that makes sense and kind of gives you an idea how I use cards in my crystal grids. Okay. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And you guys have a marvelous day.